what are like top questions that you will ask, for example, the interviewer or during the interview?
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, being someone that's gone through the tech interview process myself, like I definitely don't really like it. I mean, I also like, I've grinded on leak code before and it's awful. And I think honestly, like it's a big issue, and in my opinion, for like a lot of these like FANG companies that like their interviews are so leak code driven because it's like leak coding is like a skill in and of itself. And like, okay, obviously, if you're a good leak coder, you probably know data structures and algorithms pretty well. Um, but I think like for most of the jobs that they're hiring these people for, like, yeah, okay, data structures and algorithms like are probably somewhat important, but like there's so many other things that I think like are missing from that interview process, that, like just, doing a lead code interview alone and maybe a system design like doesn't give you the full picture of like an engineer. And so yeah, for us, like at Consensus, like we made a active decision not to do any leak codes just because we don't really care about leak code skills. So like our interviews are much more practical, where we'll like give you kind of like a toy React application or like an API and kind of like ask you to, make some changes, maybe fix a these kind of things. I think that that's like a much better way to interview people. And I know that like it's not just us that interviews this way. Um, like I think Coinbase tries to ask more practical questions. Stripe, like I think a lot of the non-FANG kind of like more modern startups have been moving away from that lead code model that has dominated like the tech interviewing practice for so long. More specifically on questions that like we ask. I mean, I think without like revealing any of the specific questions that we ask, like some of the things that we like care about are like what's your passion for like working on this technology, because it is like, it can be a difficult industry to work in with like, you know regulatory challenges. Like there is like a lot of like unsavory aspect to the industry. Like people may be attracted for the wrong things. People might not care about the industry at all, which like doesn't seem like they would have much staying power. And so like one of the questions I really like to ask people is just like, what got you into crypto? Like what do you find interesting about it? And another question that like is very important for me in interviewing is like, what do you think about MetaMask? At like, what do you like or dislike about MetaMask? And you would be surprised at how many people like will interview for a company and not use their products. And it's like, I don't need you to be an expert. I don't care if you tell me like MetaMask is shit and like super janky, the UI sucks, like, because then I know at least that you've used it and like you have opinions about it. But if you're like, oh, I've never used MetaMask, that's like almost an instant kind of like
Red flag.
at the interview, because it's like, all right, you applied for this company, you're maybe in the second or third round, you're meeting me. I would expect for someone to kind of like take the initiative. And like, even if we don't necessarily require people to be like deep crypto enthusiasts to hire them, but like, if you're not, then like I would still expect you to go in and like use the product and like develop some intuition about the product before, like you join the
Mm,
company or during the process.
yeah, right. So basically, you're more relying to, as you said, no practical questions against late code.
Yes, absolutely. And yeah, like, like as I said, front end, it'll be like a toy React application, back end, like a toy API. I haven't done a Solidity interview at Consensus ever actually, but I'm pretty sure it's like a small smart contract with like a suite of tests again. It's like, okay, there's maybe a bug here, fix it, add a new function. So it's like very much what you would be doing. And like, probing the thinking process that you would be going through on a day-to-day basis.
Right. Recently, I did a crypto integration, payment integration for one of the clients whose main target audience are people from 40 to 50 years old and plus from Asian countries, and they're using most of the time they're using the older version of the mobile app with the older tools, and we had so many fucking problems. It started from the teaching them how to use it, until the things where a lot of people, despite all of the technological heaviness that we're bringing to help them to like use their MetaMask account inside the Safari browser or Web2 browsers, they still got facing an issues with instant or unexpected anomalies like instant reloads from like from from nowhere basically. And like, what do you think when we will come to the point where actually Web2 browsers will be capable enough to be integrated with Web3 functionalities and features?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Like crypto UX on mobile is awful. Um, that as like a user myself, like whenever I'm doing crypto on mobile, I'm like, this is awful experience. I think honestly, like we're kind of there now. It's just that like the technology is like very on the fringe still. Like, you know, I think things like Privy, Coinbase Smart Wallet, um, these kind of tools are like what is going to like take crypto UX, especially like mobile and like for non-degen on like the normie crowd and not like the super into crypto crowd. Like that's what it's going to be. People are used to downloading browser extensions and having to like switch between, you know, your web browser and a mobile app to sign transactions. Like it needs to be a fully integrated experience. And that's what I think things like Privy and Coinbase Smart Wallet offer, where it's like you log in with like a social account, like your Twitter account or your Gmail, or like with a passkey, like a Face ID. And then you're just able to transact, and the crypto is kind of like pushed into the background. Like you shouldn't need to know what a 24-word seed phrase is or anything like this. I think that for me is the future of crypto UX. And yeah, like I think, you know, the crypto UX that we know it today is going to get less and less common as more and more people join. I mean, I think it's important that we allow people that do have the knowledge to like graduate beyond some of these solutions, because like these solutions like Privy and Coinbase, Smart Wallet, like also have drawbacks. And so like, you know, I think you start people off with like the basics, keep blockchain in kind of the background behind the scenes where they don't see it. And once, if and when they have enough knowledge that they want to learn more, like they can like export your wallet to your MetaMask, and then you can do transactions directly in your MetaMask, stuff like that.
Mhm. But do you think that we will have that pivotal moment where like Safari or Chrome or any traditional browsers will have the native integration? I mean, that's the biggest problem of the industry right now, right? People want to use it and they don't want like if we're talking about not if we're not talking about Gen Z, it's a completely other thing. But like the old money people, let's call them this way, it's super hard for them to get introduced to the crypto, to download wallet, to do all these transitions between the accounts and applications. So if they launch the project and it's not working on Safari, it's a red flag to them.
For sure. For sure. I mean, yeah, that's why I think like, you know, it like you can either like accomplish or make that easier in like one of